So if you didn't know, Colchester Machine Tool Solutions sell machining centres. Now I'm here at ProDrive in Banbury, where they've installed 2 machines, and they're their Storm VMCs. And I'm going to talk to Jordan here, who's a 24-year-old gentleman. Now you're apprentice trained, aren't you? Can you tell us about your journey in engineering?
Yeah, so I did an apprenticeship here at ProDrive. I started off as an assistant and then they put me through an apprenticeship, mostly doing manual machining, and until these arrived when we got the Colchester machines. And then I started learning more about the CNC side of things. I found them really easy to pick up.
And is your day-to-day duties to be operating, setting and programming these machines? Is that what you do?
Yeah, a lot of the programming is done in the office, but we do basic programs on these machines. But mostly we set the machines up, prove out the program, and then run a batch off.
And what will you cut? What materials will you make? Because it's quite a diverse business, isn't it? Some of the projects that you guys are involved in here at ProDrive.
Yeah, a lot of what we do is aluminium, but with some of the newer projects coming through, there's a lot of titanium work. We do some mild steels as well, but it's mostly titanium or aluminium.
So when you're cutting titanium on a machine like this, what do you have to take into account compared to aluminium? In your experience, what things do you need to know and change?
Well, the tooling has to be completely different, obviously. We have to. Some of the tooling has to be more. Well, we only use carbide for titanium. Has to be careful with the speeds and feeds, because if you go too much, then even the best tools are just going to snap under titanium.
Do you notice any difference in the machine's performance? Do you have to back off on speeds, or do you find that it handles it quite easily thanks to your big plus spindle, I suppose, the build of the machine?
Yeah, it definitely handles it a lot easier than I thought it would. On some of the machines we had before these come in, I wouldn't dream of running it at the same speeds. No
and
way.
What about your programming side as well then? You've got the FANUC system here. Do you use the manual guide?
Yeah, it's really helpful actually. Obviously, most FANUC controllers, there's not really any conversational side of it at all. But on there, when you use the guide, it really does make it a lot simple.
Can you program in code as well, or do you rely on that software?
I wouldn't be able to program in code, but the handy thing about that is when you scroll through, once you've done it through the manual guide and it helps you to do it, when you go through it, it will tell you, if you highlight it, what it means. And it gives you a little diagram, obviously, to show you.
So can you almost work backwards then? Can you learn the codes from the manual guide?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, it's probably one of the best ways to learn it, to be honest.
Okay, what about the setting of the machine? Setting your tools and stuff like that, all pretty straightforward and easy to use?
Yeah, very straightforward. Just load the tool into the spindle, enter the tool data into the tool table, and away you go.
How many hours a day are you on this machine and on the one next to you? And is there any difference between them, or are they both the same?
They're both the same machine, but one's a couple of months older, so there's very, very minor differences like the lighting, but the actual machines are the complete same. I tend to be on this one more than that one, but me and Toby, we share the work between us.
And when you're chasing tolerances, what are you trying to make parts to on some occasions, just to illustrate how precise these machines can be?
The easiest tolerance that we have is 0.25, but generally speaking, a lot with the newer projects, a lot of it's 0.1, 0.15. But not.
Okay, so pretty tight tolerances.
Yeah.
Machines hitting them every step of the way. Ever break down?
No, not it break yet. Yeah, it's been really reliable so far.